In these life-serving podcasts, Bhashkar Perinchery answers questions from everyone seeking pragmatic and effective solutions regarding emotional and energetic challenges, holistic health, and the inner journey.
Are there any questions or anything to say, to express in anyone who is participating from here or participating from elsewhere?
Do you have any question? Questions can be asked over Spotify or can be sent as voice message over the podcast webpage.
Good to be back again with a question. And I think I raised it already in the past, but it seems that I don't manage yet. In moment of tiredness, mental, physical, I go in a foggy state where I lose the connection with my senses, with my physical body, and with my capability to analyze things even. And in such a moment, I lose the ability to observe myself, to be in the present moment. My mind goes in flows, and in the best way, I try to watch where it goes. But the only way that I see that I'm finding myself and a compass is only because I've been cultivating a certain status or a certain routine in the past, that I kind of tend to let go everything, and I know that something will happen afterwards, or that is the best way that I can do, like stepping up. But I don't know even if it's the thing is that I go in a cage. I go really into a mechanism that if I'm not conscious, I end up doing things that I really don't like the way that I do, and the things that I do.
Okay.
So the question is, what do you suggest in such a case of fogginess, and especially when you start to have more and more the inability and the energy to watch?
First, the basic thing is to remember it's not a goal to be managed. It is a direction we open to and allow. And you can see in this very basic orientation, there's a big difference. When we are there as a manager, then there's an I who is trying to get it all in grip. But when you are remembering just to have it as an orientation, to allow it, you are not there as an ego. You are there more as a presence, as a remembrance, as a state of wakefulness. And this basic difference in the quality is very important, very decisive. That makes the biggest difference, because we are used to a way of going in life where we are into struggling, into managing, into fighting with ourselves, fighting with the others, going on as if the whole life is a question of struggling to achieve. And that is where we need to understand something deeper is there in life. And we cannot come to the experience of the reality, to the awakening into the truth of what is, when we are holding inwardly to an idea of a I which is separate from the whole. Because the moment you hold to an idea which is giving you the impression that you are separate from the whole, this is the barrier which prevents you from directly experiencing that you are an indivisible aspect, part, essence of the reality. So that is why it is a very delicate thing. And it is natural that you fall into this approach of struggling, managing, and as you also observe that there has been certain routine which you have been following and approach which you were trying to get. It's all in the game. But now it is a time where you can see through more, understand and gather the courage not to go into the fighting approach blindly, to notice that it is preventing one from being with the moment, preventing one from being really available to life in a direct and deep way. So this basic orientation is where you have to bring your attention. And then wait. The second thing is learning to wait. The good thing you can see also is that you are noticing that there are these stages of entanglement, of fogginess, of unclarity happening. But someone is noticing it. Someone is able to see that inside, and that's why we can speak about it also now. So let that happen and allow it to deepen. And it deepens naturally when you are not letting your energy get trapped in the fighting approach, but being as wakeful, as present as you can. And that makes a real difference. And that is where you can start seeing that, oh, it is, as Sai Baba used to put it in a certain way, he said the mental process is like a child. When the mother is running behind the child, it runs further, and then you get more into the game. But when the mother is just only observing, when the child runs a little bit, and then it looks back, and when it sees that nobody is following, nobody is trying to catch, then it loses the struggling interest and calms down. So you have to stop struggling and don't try to control the mind, don't try to get it in the grip. Instead, just learn to watch with a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of patience, and remembering it is a different way of connecting to oneself and the reality what we need to allow. It is allowing, not managing. So in this direction, orient. And then if you see from your own experience that it is making a difference, it is, and again, I'm not telling you this so that you can make it into a new goal. I'm just telling you how nature is working. So then you see that from your own experience, when it becomes clear to you that that is the direction, then you can relax more, then you can allow it more, then you can have a little more patience. That is how we go deeper.
A lot more questions to be answered. Right after this, you are listening to the Live Surfing Podcast on Spotify. Welcome back to the Live Surfing Podcast. We continue with some more questions.
Any other question or anything else in anyone? If anything is there in anyone who is present here or who is participating from elsewhere, we can take this time for that. If no questions are there, we'll take some moments to consider one of the very basic aspects which naturally you must have been hearing from me on various occasions, but it gets easily forgotten. And the forgetfulness is like that one understands it logically, rationally, intellectually, but when one is facing life in actual situations, one is slipping back into the habitual way of reacting. And there we don't include this understanding or this insight what we have. And that is where you have to bring a difference. And it's about a very simple, basic fact. And that is, life has created each of us as unique manifestation. What does it imply? It implies one thing, that when everybody is unique, how can you compare? How can you say that somebody has to be like this and then only they are okay, and somebody has to be somebody in some other way and then only they are perfect? No. You see more clearly and wakefully the fact that when everyone is unique, the whole comparison, competition, labeling and judging is more like a game, but it has no real basis. It's more like playing with some arbitrary illusions. And that is very important when you can allow this remembrance to enter deep in you, so that in every step you take in life, in every moment, in every interaction, this remembrance can continue in you as an undercurrent fact. It is not just believing somebody else, it is just observing. But you have to bring this remembrance carefully. You have to allow this remembrance to come in every area, and that does not happen automatically. You may know it, you may even agree with all that right now, but it's not a question of agreeing or disagreeing with someone. It's a question of recognizing it as a fact of life, fact of nature, fact of this wonder that life is. So once you accept yourself as part of this wonder, once you accept yourself as unique, then you can relax, because then you see that all the comparison, all the competition, all the power games are just good games when it is on the level of a game. But when you get into it too much, when you start getting trapped into it, then it becomes a nightmare. It is not just a game, it becomes suffering, and it starts overtaking your life. You will be surprised that your entanglement in life has so much to do with just forgetting these basic factors. And one of the basic factors I would really ask you carefully to bring in different ways into your remembrance is the fact that everyone is unique. Life has created everyone without anyone else being like that. It's a tremendous respect, it's a tremendous, wondrous aspect of life. And the more you start considering it, the more you start letting it sink into your very core, the more you will also see that what a game we are playing. And of course, getting trapped in the game without the remembrance, we are also fighting, we are also struggling, we are also trying to prove that I am better, I am somebody. And it becomes an ongoing nightmare. It becomes an ongoing struggle. Of course, when you are winning and when you seem to be successful, in those moments it is a certain intoxication of being somebody, being strong, being powerful, being special. But you are paying a high price for that when you go into it blindly, because your speciality, your somebodyness, your superiority, your pride, you cannot hold to. All that changes. You cannot play the power game all the time. You cannot go into the belief that you are better than somebody and settle with that. So when you remember the fact that you are part of the wonder that life is, you are part of this mystery, and everyone, including yourself, is unique. When you can let it enter deeply into your very way of connecting to life. I like the German word for it, vergewissern. When it is not just that it's a knowledge in the head, vergewissern means that it has become part of your deep understanding, that it is true for you, it is reality for you. And this is very, very important, because that makes all the difference. That gives you the foundation not to get lost in the game. That gives you the foundation to be in the world of ups and downs, of power and powerlessness, where you look sometimes superior, where you look sometimes inferior, where you look sometimes so special, and where you look sometimes worthless and senseless. You can watch all these things as part of the game when deep within you remember that this is not true. It is a relative process. All these labels, all the judgments, it is very relative. And that becomes more and more clear to you when it becomes your inner understanding that everyone is unique. So accept and respect your uniqueness and bring it again and again into your conscious consideration. Then also you will become very respectful to everybody, because it is the same wonder, the same mystery, the same divinity which is manifesting through everyone, including you. So let it become your understanding, let it become your basis for connecting into the game of the world. Then you can understand why it is called in certain mystical traditions that this world is a lila, a cosmic game, cosmic play. When we are in it, when we are trapped in the roles, when we are into the competition, comparison and all these judgments, sooner or later, trapped in it, it becomes very painful, becomes a nightmare, and everything becomes burdensome, and you are wondering when it is going to end. The suffering comes to an end when you come to face the reality the way it is. You are unique. Get conscious of who you are. Get conscious of the nature of your reality. Become aware by allowing yourself to go beyond this comparison and competition, beyond the judgment and labeling, beyond the attempt to be powerful, beyond the attempt to be superior, beyond the pride and prejudice. Then you realize what a blessing. What intelligence is behind the whole creation. Let it become your direct experiential understanding, and you are capable of it, and that is what will give you the right basis. Not all the knowledge, not that what you hear and agree or disagree with anybody, not all the concepts and beliefs which you keep somewhere in the head. No. Learn to confront the reality. Learn to look without comparing, competing, judging, labeling. That is what is meant when it is said, take every day some time for yourself, where you are just being, without trying to go into any of the games, without trying to be somebody better than you or superior than somebody else, without trying to change yourself into anything else. Of course, it's not a resignation into some kind of so-called concept, oh, I am okay, you are okay. No. Become familiar with what you are. So accepting and respecting yourself and remembering the uniqueness so that you don't get pulled into this game of competition and comparison, of power, of being superior, being trapped in the idea of being inferior, or getting into the belief that I am weak, I am not okay. All these are connected with the same misunderstanding, and that will change, because when you open to the reality and start looking at life the way it is, the whole thing is we need to take the initiative and take time for it, because without that, the day-to-day life process, the whole conditionings overtake your life energy. You get so pulled into it, you are into your roles, you are into your competition, you are into judging, into labeling, and feeling hurt, feeling misunderstood, or wanting to prove something, wanting that the others are agreeing with you or appreciating you. So you get so much in this game playing without realizing it is a game. And that is why it becomes very problematic. If you are aware it is a game and you can let go of it every moment, then it's different. And that is what happens when you let the understanding of the uniqueness deepen in your life. And for that you need to deliberately take time. Deliberately bring the remembrance. You're not trying to change anything, you're not trying to bring something new and control and manage anything. You're simply being open to look the way it is. Life, yourself, the reality, the way it is. So if you understand it even a little bit, Bring this into practice, bring this into your day-to-day living. So that this uniqueness unifies you. The remembrance of the uniqueness unifies you. You are not scattered. Your energy is not getting pulled into this and that. You can see, you can go into games, but when you know it's a game, it is different. It's just like when you go into a movie and watch the movie, you are also ready to go and watch all kind of exciting horror movies sometimes, because you know that it's a movie, and when the light comes again, you come out and you can speak about it, you can laugh about it, you can see how you were even trapped in certain moments, how the monster was about to jump on you and you were ready to run away. All that, you can smile about it because you know that it's a movie and that you are only an observer of it. In this way, when you are becoming more deeply rooted in your state of uniqueness, remember that and become familiar. Your life gains a new quality. You start relaxing more, because when you are not going into this usual approach of comparison, competition, power games, your energy is becoming free. And then you can go into things where you need to go with your energy intensely, but you are not a slave of the automatic process. So a certain initiative is very important, so that the remembrance can continue, remembrance can deepen, so that it is an undoubtable, basic recognition of the fact of life, and it becomes the healing force. Because when you see that you don't need to prove anything, you don't need to achieve anything to be accepted by life. Life has sent you as a unique manifestation, and that is the biggest respect, that is the biggest present. So understand the blessing, understand the incomparable nature of your reality. Then you can play the comparison in different ways just for fun's sake. But you will not get lost in it. But when you don't keep the remembrance deeply alive, you are pulled into believing that you have to change yourself, you have to manage this, you have to prove this, and get so deeply caught in it that your life becomes more a struggle, a nightmare, rather than a way of celebrating the wonder and the blessing that life is. So this will be valuable to allow this remembrance to deepen and allow this orientation to be the basis of your connection to every moment, every step, every interaction. So if no questions are there, then we will take some time just to be with this remembrance of uniqueness, not going into any judgment, not going into any mental process, just noticing everything. That is what the remembrance of the uniqueness will enable you to. You are not trying to change anything, you are not trying to achieve anything. You are simply remembering to be wakeful, because without the wakefulness and the initiative from your side, the automatism pulls your energy into the habitual way of reacting. That is why you need to learn not to follow it blindly, not to let the energy get trapped, in the automatism. And that happens when you remember and stay wakeful. And in case you forget and you are again getting trapped in the whirlpool of the thoughts, notice it. Don't go into fighting. Just come to the moment. Remember the uniqueness. And let yourself inwardly relax from every form of struggle, every form of wanting to change or achieve. With this remembrance, with this orientation, with closed eyes, we sit the next 15 minutes.
You can sit the next 15 minutes and put yourself a timer for that. The Live Surfing podcast will be back next week.